welcome everybody to, sorry.
Okay.
Welcome everybody to our fellowship assembly for the last day of April. Wow, tomorrow's
Yes.
May 1st. First, I want to introduce Ron's daughter, my stepdaughter. This is Heather
Hi,
Love.
Heather.
Heather's a member of the
Nelson,
British Columbia Rotary Club, but she's
nice.
past president of the Hay River Club, where she
Oh,
was
nice.
until just a few months ago. And before that, she was with the Yellowknife Club. And before that, Nelson again. So we're really happy to have, they're visiting right now from Nelson.
Yeah, and soon to be new members of RECCO. So
Well,
welcome.
she belongs to Nelson Club again. So yeah, we tried.
Yeah.
And welcome to our guests. I see we have Marty, who's going to be our speaker, along with Roger and Paul. Paul, I missed your introduction before when I was a little bit late.
Oh, I'm from the Rotary Club East. Sorry, the E Club of the Caribbean, 7020.
Oh,
I originally was a Rotarian at East Nassau in the Bahamas.
wow.
And our club, the E Club, is the Caribbean, but it's in 7020, the district. So anybody in that district, or anybody who's interested in that district, or has some vested interest in it, can join the club.
Wow.
Right.
That's the one I
Yeah.
started in
Right.
Yeah.
Oh,
20.
is it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Kitty, that's great. So I think that Tammy, will you be able to share that video when I introduce it? We have a video to start with, and it's the theme for the 2026 is Unite for Good, and there's a video about that. Can you share it?
Is that the one you sent to me, Judy?
That's the one. No, that's the one that Kim just sent to me. I don't know. Oh,
Yeah, I sent it in the agenda. It's in the
Yeah.
agenda.
Okay. All right,
I
just
thought
bear
it was-
with me
I thought it was cute. I don't know what other people will think. But
can you see it?
I can see it. I just don't know if I can get it to play here yet. Just one second. Sorry, I didn't notice that, so. Just find the share button here.
you could play it at the end, Tammy.
What's that?
You could do it at the end if you can't find
Yeah,
it.
I have it. I just want to make sure it's going to play properly with the sound. So I clicked on the button, so let's hope.
Okay, I'll try it for now. There, looks like it's working.
it's a bit glitchy.
Together, we're stronger. We light the way and seize the day for a brighter future. We march with pride, we rise and strive. Through ups and downs, we stand our ground. We make it work for everyone. Oh, unite for good. Oh, unite we should. Stand as one, hand in hand, make a change all over the world. Unite for good. As people of action, we
great.
Good.
Awesome.
Thank you for sharing that, Tammy.
Okay, no problem.
So
I
our
didn't know we had a theme song for the.
Neither did I, but I love it.
Yeah, it was
It's
good.
we should
great.
put that on the weekly meeting site. Be neat.
Yeah,
Oh,
Rotary
yeah.
K-pop.
Yes.
I will do that. Yeah.
Great. So our talk today is emblematic of the good that Rotary can create in the world when we can consolidate our efforts across borders and barriers. That was great to see that. So now we are going to turn it over to Roger to introduce our guest speaker. Roger.
Good morning. This morning we have with us, I invited Marty Pease. Marty is from LaConner, Washington. For those that know the area, it's in the Mount Vernon, Anacortes area, about 50 miles from the Canadian border at Bellingham. Marty is a past president of the LaConner, Washington Rotary Club. She was the LaConner, Washington's Rotarian of the Year, no, Rookie of the Year, I believe. And I met Marty about 11 years ago. We've both been heavily involved with the International Project Alliance, which is why she's here this morning to talk about the many trips we've made to Honduras. And she can talk more about that. And she goes down there at least twice a year. And one of those trips is to lead our youth group that goes down and spends a week working in these remote villages, doing a lot of different projects. So I'll let Marty explain what the IPA is, and then we can both take questions later. Good morning, Marty.
Good morning. Very glad to be here. I'm always very excited to share what this program is about. So let's see, if I just click the share screen, right?
Yes.
And it will let me share, okay?
Yep.
Okie dokie.
Got it.
Ah, till I hit the close button. Oops. What I really want to do is get this out of the way. I want to expand that. Start the slideshow, but that is right. Okay. Everybody can see that okay?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. So as Roger said, my name is Marty Pease, and I'm also the present president of the LaConner Rotary, and which is in the northwest corner of Washington. And the project, the IPA, the Project Alliance, International Project Alliance, is a group of 14 Rotary clubs in District 5050 working together with a Rotary club in Copan, in western Honduras. And together we've been serving the Mayan villages that surround Copan since 2014. I made my first trip in 2016, and as Roger said, I've been down 17 times or so. And it's really, it's a great project. This is our mission statement, which I don't need to read, but basically to help those people in Copan with anything we can. I think there's some pretty cool, unique aspects of the International Project Alliance. One is the collaborative effort with many clubs. I've only been a Rotarian for 10 to 11 years, but it seems to me clubs come together, and it might be only one or two, and it's usually for a one-time project. Say, for example, a water project in Africa or something along those lines. And rarely is it an ongoing project, and rarely is it very many clubs. And we could just do so much more together than one club could do on their own. And it's been going on for 12 years. It's a long-term effort. The founder is Peter Martin, who is a member of the Fidalgo Island Rotary. And so he is the founder and the go-getter behind it. And so we have plans in place that when he gets to where he can no longer do the work, we will be able to sustain the program. And then also we can do pretty much whatever the community needs. However, it works for us. The villagers come to us with what they need. We see if it's financially feasible. And if it is, then we go ahead and do it for them, depending on what the project is. And then we're active in a lot of the areas of focus. So here are the 7 areas of focus for those of us who don't have this list memorized. So for me, peace and conflict, anytime you, like your group of club, your club, I love the concept. Anytime you're establishing your relationships across borders, in my mind, you're working on peace. We have done some nutrition and agricultural training, hygiene training, several wash projects. In maternal and child health, we do provide the villagers that we work with, the students, healthcare. And then also we have helped establish a maternity clinic. Basic education and literacy, that is the main focus in how the IPA got started. And the economic development is also another part of our main focus. In environment, we don't really have anything specifically to date. I would love to somehow get trash managed in Honduras and get recycling going. It is amazing how much is along the sides of the roads. These are the 14 clubs at the moment, and they're mostly centralized in an area about halfway between Seattle, Washington, and Vancouver, BC. We do have one Canadian club, the Semiahmoo Club. And then this is a map of Honduras, and we're mostly active over here. Well, we're only active over here in the state of Copan, and Copan Ruanas is the central town of the state. And Copan Ruanas is about 5 miles from the Guatemalan border. It's a town of about 8,000. Its main reason for existing is tourism, for there's a beautiful Mayan ruin there. But it also is the area's center of commerce and medical clinics, those kinds of things. And they have a very active Rotary Club. So it's been a great place to work out of. Surrounding Copan, there's about 250 of these Mayan villages. So there's plenty to do there. We are active in about 40 of the villages. And the Mayan villages is very hilly, that area. They have anywhere from 50 to 100 homes. They're living at poverty level or below. And so they would have the problems that you would expect from anybody who's living in poverty. And then the hard part is the villages are a long ways from Copan. Not as a crow flies, but it's just really hard to get there. It takes a 4-wheel drive, motorcycle, a horse. And some people walk to town on foot. So it's hard for these people to get services and things they need. This is a typical home on the left. And then this is the terrain that we see and are working in on the right. These are very typical roads on what it takes to get to the villages. We have to often cross streams. There are some times in the year where we cannot. Mud is a serious problem. There are a few villages that we can only get to a couple times a year when the roads are passable. And then the picture on the right is a very typical road of what it takes to get to these villages. I personally take complete delight, and I'm usually in the back of this truck holding onto that handrail and enjoying the ride. It's yeah, anyway. So you can see that this is difficult to access these villagers and for the villagers to get to town. This is another typical home, and then this is a latrine. So that's what their bathroom systems are looking like. This is this woman's kitchen. And then there's also indoor kitchens and cute faces. And here's some more cute faces. And it's because of this that's the main motivation for the IPA, that if we can educate these children and they can choose what they want to do with that, but they may have a little better leg up in life if they can be educated. So our two main areas where we focus our monies and our time is on education and what we call rapid development, which is basically economic development program. So in the education piece, the Honduran government does provide buildings for elementary school kids in kindergarten, 1 to 2 room buildings, classrooms for 1st through 6th grade. And they do pay the teachers most of the time, but beyond that, they don't do anything else for the schools. So a lot of what we have done is replace roofs, try to get electricity to the schools, make sure the latrines are functioning, that they have adequate furniture, whiteboards. And then on an annual basis, we provide school supplies for both teachers and the village kids. And then we also support middle school, high school, university, and trade school training. We provide a mobile library. So a box of books has about 50 books in it. Each box is different. A box gets moved every 3 to 4 months, and it would take one box 10 years to get the complete circuit of this through the schools. So the students see non-school books, different books. if they're in the same school, 1st through 6th grade, every 3 months, a different book is showing up that they haven't seen before. I think it's pretty phenomenal organizing and planning on that one. And then rapid development, we started with a few villages, which I'll say more about in a moment, but based on a program out of Switzerland called FXB. And we took components of their program, which is trying to hit all aspects of poverty at once. We've had some great successes and we've had some not so great things. So we've used what we've learned to develop it from there, which I will elaborate on. Within the education piece, we have 2 Adopta programs. We call them the Adoptas. So Adopta School is for the elementary school kids. It costs us about $18 a year for kindergarten and $22 a year for an elementary school kid for their school supplies. And the sponsor of the school pays for the entire school and the cost is based on the number of students. So we're active in about 40 of these villages, and we're supporting about 1,700 students with that part of the program. So then the middle schools, when we first got involved, so the Honduran, they're only required to go to school through 9th grade, but there's also no truancy officers making sure the kids are in school. But the middle schools were far enough away. Some of the kids were having to walk 2 hours each way, and that's definitely a deterrent. So we have opened a number of middle schools, trying to centrally locate them so no student has to walk further than half an hour. And then the high schools are in Copan or another town called Santa Rita, which is about 6 miles away from Copan. And so, but they do offer weekend schools. So the village students will often help their families or help their fathers work in the fields and then come down on the weekends for high school. We have decided to open our own high school, which has also been really, really successful. And then the college tuitions, we do have over 50 students that we're supporting to go through the university. And the cost of that depends on the program that they're in. And so the Adopt a Dream is a one-on-one relationship with the middle school, high school, or university students. It costs us about $220 for fees, uniforms, and supplies for middle school and high school. And we're supporting about 600 students here. So this is an example. This is an older picture, but we built a 3-room middle school classroom in the village of La Laguna. This picture on the right is in the village of La Moya, and this is a very typical, this is what the schools look like, and it's multiple grades in 1 room. More cute faces, and then this is very typical of what the exterior of the schools will look like. So the school year runs February through November because coffee picking season is November to February, and that's when most of the villagers make their income. So February is one big trip where a large group from here goes down, and the main goal of that trip is to distribute all the school supplies. And this is the example of the mobile library on the right. So that trip happens in February, and then the other big trip is at the end of school year where we visit all the schools, collect the end of school data, we collect the mobile library books, repair them and or replace them. And then there are 2 or 3 other trips during the year. For example, Roger was just down there with another gentleman going over all the construction projects that we're doing. And someone else goes down in May and August. So there are, the other beauty of this is you can have very direct contact and go down there and see what we're doing. So these kids are getting their backpacks, getting fitted for uniforms, showing off their backpacks. And then the student health program. So most of the time the students, we have someone who oversees it, a paid contractor named Cynthia. Student has a problem, or if a teacher says student has a problem, get in touch with her. She makes arrangements for them to see the appropriate doctor. And most of the cases are very minor and don't cost very much. We have had a leukemia case. We've had a serious broken bone. These 2 that I've shown here, the one on the left, the young girl had tongue-tied, which I never realized was actually a medical problem. And she can now sing. The tongue was freed up and she can sing. The gentleman on the right, we had just gotten involved in his visit in his village, and the teacher's like, look at his leg, and it was severely infected. If we hadn't gotten involved, he probably would have lost the leg. So that's examples of things that we can provide for these students. And then the rapid development is what we call our program. We started with 3 villages, added 2, and then did 6 over the last 8 years. And in that program, we offered learning how to do village savings and loans. We did agricultural training on raising livestock, how to do a home garden, offering different crops besides corn and beans, business planning, and then some microfinancing, and then also training some healthcare practitioners. What we found was really successful was the savings and loan. The villagers really appreciated learning how to run a savings and loan well, how to save money, and then to be able to borrow it if they need it. And so far, nobody's reneged on the loans, which is awesome. And then the other thing that surprised us was the success of the home gardens. People really liked growing their own vegetables, learning how to do so. And some of the women have turned their gardens into micro businesses, which is just really exciting. The one area we really, really struggled was finding sustainable businesses. And we found that anything that required transportation of product or produce wasn't going to work. One, the villagers can't afford to pay for it. And secondly, there was no service to transport these goods. So it had to be a business that was good within the village. For example, a small store, livestock, and the vegetable product, or the gardens. And then, so we've taken these things that we learned from this and have a third paid contractor, David, whose job is to go into the other villages that we have, the remaining of the 40, and teach them, help them, if they wish, start the village savings and loan and do some other business management programs. And then also getting some home garden training going. So taking what we did well and then passing it on to others. So we went back and talked to the villages, and what else could we do? And they asked about trade schools. The adults asked about trade schools. We had been putting high schoolers through trade schools, but it had been a problem. One, there's none in Copan. There's 2 in Santa Rita, but they're problematic. One embezzled from us, so obviously that didn't work well. And another one, we paid for the students, and then they went back to the students and asked for more money. They limited trades, and they just didn't have great equipment. So 2 of the Rotarians broadened the search and found a very well-established, well-run, well-funded trade school in Santa Rosa, which is about 2 hours away, so which of course would involve transporting people. So in November of 24, we sent a small group of adults, and the classes were on Saturdays, and how many weeks depended on the trade. And we paid for the transportation and the food and the education. And it went really, really well. Trade school was an incredible group to work with. The electricians were hired before they even finished their training. So we talked to them about opening a satellite campus in Copan or Santa Rita, and that happened really fast. And so a year ago, opened up a satellite school. And so to date, in the last year, we've put 110 students, these are adults from the villages, have gone through the trade schools. Currently, right now, there's 58 students in the program. And then the middle sentence there, a contractor that oversees it, she's fluent in English, but it's not her primary language. So this is a direct quote, and I'm not really sure what she meant. Whether she really meant that at least 80% of these people have gained from the trade school training in that they've either started a business or employed, or whether she literally meant they started businesses. But the bottom line being over 80% of the people have benefited from being through the trade school, which is really optimistic. Now, are we going to flood the market with people trading trades? That's hard to know. The top list is programs that have already been done. The middle one is what the present group of students are going through. And then over the year, we hope to be adding all of, doing this complete program. So it's really excited. I really think this is a key that could really, really help the adults. And it's just a very cool idea. So in November, this was last November, and while I was there, the baking class was at the Children's University. And these are the women on a Saturday, and they had prepared yummy cookies for us. And then this is the sewing class. This is the teacher here. This is the David is the paid contractor who's overseeing the advanced training. We provided the sewing machines for the school. And then that day in the beauty class was hair cutting day. So the other side of what we do a lot of is we have a third contractor named Mauricio who oversees construction. And this is the part that Roger is very heavily involved in. He may have at any point 30 projects. His job is to look at them, put together a budget. If we approve doing it, providing the materials, the agreement is the villagers provide the labor, we provide the materials. And then he oversees that it's getting done. This is just a partial list of the types of projects we can do. The beauty is that we're not stuck on one theme. We can do a lot of what they need. This is an example of a latrine project. It was one of the first ones we did in Hacienda Grande. This is a pila. So this village only gets water 1 day a week. So they fill this to store the water, obviously in the bucket also. They have a dishwashing area, and then on the other side here is a washboard. Inside this is a shower, and this white pipe here is the gray water that they can use to water plants if they wish. And then there's also a toilet, which they can flush with a bucket of water if they don't have any running water that day. So that's an example of, this was one of our early latrine projects. We put 70 latrines in that village, and the agreement was that villagers had to build their own latrine. And they had training on how to do it, but so that they have some skin in the game. We have a third Adopta, which is Adopt a Village. And the people here, or the Rotarians, were like, we want a closer relationship with the village that we're supporting. And so this program was put together and was incredibly successful. We were surprised. And 21 out of the 40 villages that we're working with have been adopted. And that includes the sponsor supports the elementary school, commits to supporting at least 5 students in middle school and high school, and contributing to construction every year. And of the people who are sponsors, the majority of them have actually been to Honduras, have visited their villages, have met with the adults, the village leaders, and really have established a relationship with the village. So it's just been very cool. So where does the money come from for all of this? Typically, our annual budget is $300,000 to $350,000. Member clubs pledge a minimum of $2,500 a year. There's a couple clubs that's all they do. Other clubs do that and then pay for particular projects. One club focuses on health projects, another club on water projects. The Adopt a School and Adopt a Dream sponsors, we do rely on district grants. We apply for anywhere from 1 to 3 a year, and then private donations. And also Adopt a Village. I forgot to put Adopt a Village sponsors in here too. We've been very lucky in the last year. We've had some extremely generous people which have allowed us to do larger programs. For example, the trade school. We would not have been able to do that without these large donations that we have received. So trips down, like I said, there's 2 main trips a year, and then there's two to 3 smaller trips. These are just examples. You can interacting with the village kids. This is Peter on the right, who founded the program. He's getting the key to the city of Copan, Ruanas, and then visiting with this lady used as part of the Rapid Development Program, and she had a chicken farm, has a chicken farm. So it's really nice to be able to go repeated. I mean, for me, who's gone repeatedly, and also Roger, you establish relationships down there and get to know these folks. So there's different ways to get involved. The Rotary Club joins. You can sponsor a school, a student, a village, direct donations. And for any club that's a belonging, it's working together. One of the joys for me is actually getting to know other Rotarians, traveling with other Rotarians, being of service, can see what we're doing, the benefits of what we're doing. And if someone's looking to get into international projects, the groundwork has already been done, and so it's a lot easier to get involved. So, any questions? Roger, you want to add anything?
I just came back Monday. I was down there for a month. Oh boy, Marty, it was really hot. It was 32, 34 degrees. It was really, really hot.
Ugh, you do so well in heat.
Oh man. I looked at a lot of projects. The biggest one we hope we have next year, we're looking to get a district grant to fix about electrical problems in about 30 of the villages. They have some of the damnedest ways of wiring things that you've ever seen. They have what used to be electrical meter that's now suspended by two wires hanging in the middle of a schoolyard is not uncommon. They have 12 gauge wires that are connected to 10 gauge wires. And the reason is because the villagers were doing the wiring themselves. So what IPA has started now is we require a certified electrician that we pay out of Copan to do all of this. And we're hoping to get a grant for about 25,000, I think, to knock out all of these electrical problems in 1 year.
Wow.
Marty,
Yes.
fantastic presentation. Thank you very much. The work sounds wonderful. When you're sending people through the trade schools, are you finding that they then have to go into the cities to carry on the work? Are they able to stay local and develop projects?
So that is a question that's unknown at this point.
Okay.
And I did forget to an important piece of the puzzle I forgot to mention. So the other thing we realized we can put them through trade school, but they need tools. So we've found a way. So if they belong to a village savings and loan, they can borrow the money. We feel like they need to have some skin in the game. They need to buy their own tools as opposed to us gifting them. And so they can either do it through their village savings and loan, but we've also, with a Rotarian, established a loan program, and which we have funded, provided the money for, so that they can get a loan to get their equipment. So at least they can do the work. That's a good question. So carpentry and electricity, there is a lot of building going on from money coming down from the United States, and they're building new homes right in the villages. So there may be a lot of work there. The electricians and carpenters, welders may have to travel a little, but they can always come back to their home base. And another goal is to try to decrease the need for immigration so that they feel comfortable staying at home if they can support their family.
Yeah, wonderful.
So yeah, if you have 5 electricians in one village, that's not going to work as far as, yeah. So I think it's way too early for us to know that.
Okay.
Because the first big group of people went through the program last November, so it hasn't even been a year. So I don't know. I mean, I imagine some of them are going to have to travel. Baking industries and stuff, they're going to be more local. Beauty could be just in the village, as long as you only have a couple beauticians. You don't need 10, right? The sewing, they probably have to create I don't know the answer to that, whether they could do sewing at home. They can buy a sewing machine and the supplies. So I think it's too early for us to really know.
Okay. Well, good luck with that.
Yeah, thank you.
Marty, or Roger, I have a question for either one of you. When I was reading through your material there, of course, microfinancing caught my attention. I've been a huge proponent of Kiva for a long, long time. So explain to me how your microfinancing program is working.
So basically, the first group of villages, we actually provided funds directly, but since then, we're providing funds to the village savings and loan. And then through the village savings and loan, the villagers could get money. Do I have that right, Roger?
Yes.
And
We
then,
provide seed money for the VSLA or help a village start a VSLA. And
And-
once they have the seed money and they're fully trained, then they take over by themselves. And David goes out, our contractor goes out and stays in touch with them as
Have
much as he
you
can.
have you ever looked at the concept of having that savings and loan partnering up with somebody like Kiva, which gives you an international platform?
oh, no, we have not done anything along those lines.
Because I know Kiva is active in Guatemala and Honduras. It might be something. I mean, if anything that's holding the savings and loans back is the lack of seed money, then being partnered with somebody like Kiva, who is taking your cause and put it on their international platform, and allows individuals like myself to make a loan to somebody directly that the savings and loan is sponsoring, could be a huge benefit and could put a lot more money in the savings and loans pocket, which then means they can help more people.
Yeah, no, that's a good idea. At this stage, we haven't had the need to do that, but so far. But I could, yeah.
Yeah. Well, if you want any more information on it, by all means, contact me.
Yeah.
Because I'd be interested in seeing if, and what I would like to see something like that is the loans that savings and loan is making, that some way there's an identifier on those loans where Rotarians can find them. So Rotarians can individually support people that are borrowing money through the savings and loan, specifically through your savings and loan, and specifically for projects in these communities.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if there was a Rotary banner attached to a lot of microfinance stuff, I would suggest that in most cases they would be oversubscribed. Because Rotarians would just jump on that.
Yeah, and I have to support Patrick on that. He got us involved in Kiva, and our Rotary Club in Medicine Hat's doing it. It would be marvelous because the communication is so clear and direct from Kiva, and they do so much of the vetting for projects. It would be marvelous. A good partnership.
Cool. My head is going into the logistics of it because computers is not in the picture.
Well,
you know, that kind of communication. So that's where my head is going.
Kiva looks after a lot of that for you. And that's the nice thing. I mean, Kiva is the bridge between the people that have money in countries around the world and the ability to get that money into the hands of people that need it in other parts of the world. So, and it's all online. So, you know, I can make a loan in Uganda with a couple of keyboard clicks, or Honduras or Argentina or wherever I want. And it's all just a couple of clicks on a keyboard through Kiva. Kiva looks after, I put money in my account. Kiva looks after moving that money to the microbank in the country that the person that I'm lending to is, and then they actually make the loan, they monitor the loan, they do the collections, and they work hand in hand with Kiva. The microbanks have to be certified by Kiva first.
So that's access the microbanks. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I have to interrupt. What is Kiva? I've been trying to ask that question. I don't know who you're talking about.
Well, if you Google kiva.org, you will find
Kiva or Keeva?
No, kiva.org. They're based in San Francisco. They're a 401 charity in the US. They've also just attained charitable status, I believe, in Britain and the Netherlands, I think. But what they do is they connect people with money that the concept is I have 25 bucks I'm not using right now, and you're trying to do expand your business in Guatemala. So I'm going to lend you the 25 bucks, and you do what you need to do with the 25 bucks. And over time, you can pay me back. And when I get the money back, I'm going to turn around because I don't need it. So I'm going to turn around and going to find somebody else to lend it to. But in a lot of countries where people don't have access to savings and loans, and in some cases, the banks won't talk to them, don't want to talk to them. This gives them the ability to borrow money to raise their businesses to the next level. And then they pay the loan back, and there's different payment periods. There's 12 months, there's 2 years, there's 5 years for tuition loans for students. So it just, like I say, it's a lifeline for people that don't have access to your traditional bank, or you can just walk in and get a loan.
Yeah, Patrick, I put the web link in the chat if anyone, Paul,
Oh,
if you want
good.
to.
Yeah, and the
Yeah.
other benefit that Patrick introduced us to is that you can build a personal relationship with the people who get the loans. Often they'll come back and do more loans and build their business, but you can hear their stories. Kiva does a wonderful job of introducing them to you so that you get to know them.
Yeah, I guess the thing that I'm looking at is the potential to take the great work that the savings and loan is doing, but it put their profile worldwide. So now they can potentially have money come in from anywhere around the world that supports what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Marty,
Thank you, Patrick.
Marty, can I just ask a quick question? Your dollar values in your presentation presumably are US dollar.
Yes,
reference,
sorry.
right?
Yes.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Patrick, for sharing that, and Marty for a great presentation. At this point in the agenda, are there any questions, any more questions for Marty or Roger?
Well, thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Well, thank you for the wonderful presentation. It was so interesting.
Very.
Yeah.
It was a wonderful presentation. Thank
Yeah,
you so
loved it.
much.
Oh, you're very welcome.
Well,
So-
sorry.
No, go ahead, Judy. I was just going to say, go ahead.
To change the subject, we wanted to talk a little bit about Rotary International Fellowships and joining fellowships, belonging to fellowships. And just wanted to ask if any of you belong to a Rotary Fellowship. We belong to the Fellowship of RVing Rotarians, and I'm actually on the board for that fellowship. And Ron and I used to belong to the Fellowship of Flying Rotarians until he sold his plane. And we used to belong to the Fellowship of Motorcycling Rotarians. So who else, does anybody belong to any, Kitty? You put your hand up first.
Global history, wine fellowships. There are so many, many, many.
You belong to them, all those?
I've known at least two, and I honestly can't remember some of the others. There's another one though, for sure.
I'm in the,
Paul?
there's a Paul Harris Fellowship. Actually was started in East Nassau Club, and I'm in that fellowship. It's very nice.
Nice. Neil?
I belong to the Holy Water Fellowship, which is called the Whiskey Fellowship.
Oh, yeah. Neat. Tammy?
I belong to the music one, so whenever there's a convention, we sing in the choir, or we get together online and sing on Zoom.
Wow. Kim?
I belong to the bird watching one, and there's a good talk coming up this Saturday after next about the birds of Taipei.
Really? Somebody else put their hand up. Was that Kit? Kit.
Dieter and I both belong to the Wine Fellowship, primarily because it gives a really special little rotary pin that has a corkscrew on the bottom. And a lifetime membership We don't actually pay attention to the newsletters, but the pins just dart cute.
I know, it's great, isn't it?
Yeah.
I've got one of those, yeah.
Must be
Patrick.
handy at
Patrick.
times.
Yeah, I used to belong to the motorcycle one, but last year after the conference, I actually switched that one over to the AI fellowship.
Oh,
And then the reason behind that is they're online and they post information and updating information about what's going on in the world of artificial intelligence, which I find some degrees fascinating and some degrees terrifying.
oh gosh. Anyone else? No. So there are hundreds of fellowships, and I don't know if anybody's been to an international convention. There are rows of tables of people of the ones that are there. It's so interesting. And if you want, I think if you go onto the Rotary International site, you can get a list of all the fellowships. We at one point, Peter, my late husband, and I belonged to the traveling fellowship of. So if you're traveling somewhere, you can visit with other Rotarians in whatever country you're traveling to. Travel and hosting fellowship it was at that time. With the RV fellowship that we belong to, we have been to many rallies in the United States, and then one in Canada, the one in Calgary. That Ron and I were in charge of that rally that we had. It's so fun. So we're going to one in East Oregon in September, which will be a really interesting one. So if anybody does RVing, it's a great fellowship to join. Anybody have questions about fellowships at all?
David's
No?
trying to say
David.
something.
Yeah.
I was
David?
just, I was in the, I'm in the International Caravanning Fellowship of Rotarians, which is primarily the UK, although they do have members in the Netherlands too, and New Zealand, and we attended the 2002 international conference in Barcelona, and that was our first connection with the where we joined with the club, and then we did some other rallies around the UK, and then as the result, Sharon and I organized a 5-week tour of Western Canada and we had 22 rented motorhomes out of Calgary and toured around between here and Tofino and for 5 weeks up through the Okanagan, and surprised many Brits on the quality of the wines there. And we had a wonderful time.
That's a big undertaking.
Yes, it was.
So
Sharon did most of the work.
Oh yeah, but
Booking
Sharon was a travel agent. That came in handy.
Yeah.
When we led the one in Calgary, we got together many times with David and Sharon to get their sage advice of how to organize a rally. It was very, very helpful. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I think that our meeting is coming to an end now. Does anyone have anything else to add for the good of Rotary?
I have one question, Judy, if I may.
Yes.
Doug, where in the world are you now?
Peterborough, Ontario.
I knew that was coming. Sorry to disappoint you, Neil, but I'm in Peterborough, Ontario.
That's a nice place to be.
Yeah,
But
you're
I'm only
getting
here for a week.
closer and closer
Just
to
a
the East
week?
Coast, I tell you.
And I'm freezing. It's too cold.
I don't. I
I'm
don't
visiting my
envy you.
sister. I'm visiting my sister. I came up from Mexico to visit my dear sister.
Good, good. Like I said, you're getting closer and closer to the East Coast. So
It's on my list.
So for those of you who don't know, Doug and his wife are living in Ajijic in Mexico, the same place that we winter at for the 6 months of the winter. And another member of our club, Ellie Contreras, also lives there full time. So we have lots of
Yeah.
little pod meetings.
But Doug
the,
is
the
Doug is
reason
a
I asked,
resident hobo and
yeah,
nomad.
that's why I asked where in the world is Doug.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, I used to be a member of the International Fellowship of Homeless Rotarians. They couldn't keep it together.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Too much
We should-
homelessness.
We should be able to set up some sort of a fundraiser, like where is Doug this week?
Yeah.
that is not a bad idea, Patrick.
Pay $2.
Take
That's
bets.
pretty good. That's pretty good, Patrick. That's pretty good.
Take bets, and then whoever
Where in
wins.
the world is Doug?
Yeah,
That's
but
pretty
where's
good.
Mario?
Be even better if he wore a red and white striped hat
Yes.
like Roswell or Waldo. But
That's a great idea.
Well, thank you everyone for joining us today. It was a great meeting. So nice to see all those smiling faces. And we'll